Some of you might want to have a word of prayer. I don't know. Do whatever it is that you need to do. Okay? So I did a post, a repost about Robyn, who, wait a minute, Bella and Badu. I don't want a lot of background noise. You've had plenty of water, okay? Sit down next to your sister and be quiet. I'm not in the mood today. Okay, so I did a repost, and Robyn has done an interview where she has shared her relationship, intimate relationship with the late Whitney Houston. And a lot of people were asking, well, why is she doing that now? And, let the dead people rest and all this other hee-haw. Well, for one, Robyn has a right to share her story, okay? And I think that she already has waited for a long time because she was asked to by Whitney now, I don't know Whitney. I don't know her personally. I don't know Robyn personally, okay? So, but I do know from being in Los Angeles and being so close-knit to so many people, everything is 6 degrees of separation. I do know of the relationship, and I've known of the relationship for years. Pretty much everybody has known of the relationship for years, and everybody has known that the relationship was kept a secret because of Whitney Houston's very, very religious mother, her father, and her career. Okay, everybody knows this. So Robyn now coming out and speaking about it, for one, is her damn business. That's the first thing. And we ought not sit here and say, oh, well, Whitney Houston doesn't have a right to defend herself. Well, what is she defending? Because if you're saying that she is defending something, then that means that being in a lesbian relationship or being bisexual is something bad or negative. See, this is why I'm be trying to talk to you people, because you be saying stuff out your mouth and I don't think you realize what it is that you're saying. So there's nothing for Whitney Houston to defend if in fact being bisexual or gay or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, so Robyn has come out and she has started to say, she has been talking about her relationship with Whitney Houston, which, as I've already said, most people are already aware of. Okay, so that is not the big deal. The big deal, however, is secrecy and the difference between secrecy and privacy. And see, you people do not know the difference between secrecy and privacy. Privacy is I go into the bathroom and I lock the door. Okay? Well, I lock the door because I don't want nobody to just, burst into the bathroom while I'm on the toilet. Right? That's privacy. Secrecy, on the other hand, is I've locked the door because what I'm doing in the bathroom, I'm either ashamed of or I do not want you to know about because I think that you would judge me for what I'm doing in the bathroom. That was the mic drop, okay? That is the difference between secrecy and privacy. No one is intruding into somebody else's privacy when they tell their own truth. What they are doing is they are unveiling the secrecy from the judgment about whatever it is that they're acting, whatever action it is that they have done. Am I talking good today or not? Okay? So what you need to understand, my community, is that when you have all of this secrecy in your families, okay? I'm talking about people having sex with Uncle so-and-so and Pastor so-and-so, and people were molested, and I'm going to have to get me a cloth because the Holy Spirit is talking good today. And the pastor and the elder and the deaconess and this and that and the other and all this shit that is going on. And I'm not trying to put a lot on the church. This is not negative about any type of religiosity. But what you do need to understand is dogma is to control you and to control your mind. And so when you have dogma and secrecy combined together, it will then spearhead a pathology that will destroy generations in your family. Okay? Now, I'm saying this because I know what I'm talking about. All right? My grandmother, God rest her soul, whom I've elevated. And see, that's the other thing that cracks me up about our culture. We will sit up here and say, oh, well, let dead people rest and, just let them rest in peace. Well, according to what you believe that the dead know nothing. So why the shit do you care if somebody's talking about dead people? Because according to you, the dead know nothing. So do the dead know something? Do the dead hear? Or do they not hear? See, here's the thing. You've got so many holes in your story that you can't have a logical conversation because you are just spewing out the same rhetoric that has been repeated to you from your grandmother, your mother, your grandmother, your great grandmother, and down. Most of these pastors in churches that you go to are literally saying the same sermons that have been said for decades, and you sit there, you pay your 10% tithe, and you're not getting fed anything new because no one is doing anything new. Okay? And so you can't say on one hand, let the dead rest if they know nothing. Which one is it? Do they know or they don't know? Okay? Now, so anyways, so my grandmother, whom I've elevated, and we can talk about that another time, what elevation means, was very big into secrecy. Huge into secrecy. So much so that her death left large holes in the stories of my own family. Large holes. There is information that some people know that other people don't know. And the people that do know hold it over the heads of the people that don't know. Now, me, personally, I don't give a shit. Okay? Because you can't hold nothing over me because I'll either figure it out or if I don't know it, then that means it's not important. Okay? Touch your neighbor. But that pathology came from her parents who were very, 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 very religious. Then came down to her, okay? They had secrets. Then came down to my grandmother. She had secrets. And then came down to my mother, who had secrets, who has then affected a lot of my siblings, okay? And so it hasn't affected me because, like I said, I don't give a shit. But that is because of shame, okay? So secrecy... I got to start doing lives where I'm running and talking at the same time. So secrecy, okay, causes great shame. Okay, now I'm trying to help you because this is really, really important. There is a study that has been done by the CDC that says the ages of 10 to 14-year-olds suicides have tripled in the last decade. So children who are the ages of 10 to 14 have been killing themselves 3 times as much within the last decade. Do you think that's because they're not communicating? Or you think that's because they're having these great conversations with their parents where they're able to share everything and their parents are having conversations with them and then they just feeling so good and they go and blow their heads? You have to understand that secrecy is really killing your families. It's killing you. It literally is killing you. It's either going to eat you up on the inside and change who you are as a person, or it is going to physically kill you. The study also showed that older teenagers, the rates of suicide has increased 76%. 76% of your children are killing themselves because of shame and because of secrecy. And this is not, and I want to just make sure that I'm being very clear here. This is not a gay thing. This is not about being gay. This is about whatever it is that is not being discussed because of all of the adjectives that are around the problem. Okay, you're brushing it under the rug, whatever it is. First of all, One thing that I really want people to get out of this is you have to know what your purpose is, okay? Because see, once you know what your purpose is, then you will not allow secrecy. I'll give you a good example. I'll give you a perfect example, okay? Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington was raised by a very, very strict religious family. And his mother did not want him to play jazz. Okay? She was very, very ashamed. She said, you don't want to be like those people and all this other shit. And she didn't want him to play jazz. And so he knew somehow that was his purpose. And so he started traveling the world and had a band and all this other stuff. And then, of course, we found out later that his mother did not approve. Of course, she at some point came along and was approving of his career. Daryl Coley, on the other hand, died alone and poor, who knew his purpose, but would not allow himself to love the person who he loved, who happened to be a man. Daryl Coley was gay. Okay? Now, am I telling Daryl Coley's business? Not really, because a lot of people knew that Daryl Coley was homosexual. But he did not he did not allow himself to live in his own truth. Now, am I saying that he needed to walk around holding a man's hand? I don't know. Whatever he needed to do for himself, that's what he should have done. But he did not do that. There are a lot of gospel singers, directors, performers who are gay. Okay, a lot. You may not know it because they're private. They're private about their life. But it does not mean that they are in secrecy about it. That is a big freaking difference. And that's the thing about Whitney Houston and Robyn. Okay? So we can't really speculate if Whitney Houston was with Robyn, if she had stayed with Robyn, then she wouldn't have got on drugs, blah, blah, blah. Because Whitney Houston, I'm about to hurt somebody's feelings. Whitney Houston was from one of the most hoodest areas of New Jersey known. Whitney Houston was known for cutting up long before she became famous. So a lot of people say that Bobby Houston was not the reason for her getting on drugs, that she had already been on drugs and been kind of experimenting with it and so forth and so on. So I can't say that Robyn would have saved her from her own choices. But what I am saying is that you need to figure out what your purpose is. And then in figuring out what your purpose is, no one can then sway you, okay, from that purpose, regardless of your sexual orientation or regardless of anything. So for example, you may be able to sing real, real good. And somebody's telling you, your mother, people at the church, whatever, you need to use your gifts for God. And if you don't use your gifts for God, he's going to take them away from you. First of all, that is a scare tactic like a mug. Okay? That's the first thing. I was told the same thing. That's a scare tactic. That is a damn shame. Because Luther Vandross, who died died in secrecy as well, but I digress. Luther Vandross had a beautiful voice and made wonderful love songs. Anita Baker, Sade, Patti LaBelle. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So to sit here and say that you can only use your gifts in church is why I said to you, do not allow other people's agenda to spearhead your purpose. You've got to be able to decipher between somebody supporting your purpose and somebody needing you for their agenda. Do you hear what I'm trying to tell you? Because I can tell you right now that every church, in some cities, there's a church on every block. Every single pastor in that church is not ordained to be a pastor. That's not their calling. It's a freaking business. Church is a business. Okay? So you have to make sure that the people that are telling you this are make sure that they're not telling you this either because they have an agenda or because they are afraid. A lot of your parents are telling you things because they are afraid. They don't want you to go to hell. They don't want you to suffer like they have, or whatever the situations are. They love you, so they're not trying to hurt you. They really are just doing whatever it was that their parents did to them. But you are the people that have to know the difference between, mother, you're telling me something out of fear, or mother, this is really the truth for me. For me. So real quickly, because I don't like to be on here too long. Real quickly, you have to, in order to know what your purpose is, okay? You need to, if you don't know what your purpose is, but you have an inkling, you need to journal every day. Okay? You need to journal every single day. You need to write down your talents and your gifts. Write them down. Write down your talents and your gifts. You need to meditate every single day. If you don't know how to meditate, for God's sake, go on YouTube. I put out a thing on Instagram about this guy who has a meditation app for black folk. But anyways, this is not a black thing. But go on YouTube and you can do guided meditations. Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey have meditations going on all the time. You need to get some guided meditations because you need to meditate every day. Then I want you to begin to do something within your talent every day. Okay? So what do I mean by that? If you're a painter, start painting. Just paint something. Paint by number. I don't know. If you are a mechanic, start doing mechanic. If you are a hairstylist, whatever it is, but you got to find out what your talent is first. That's why I said start out by journaling and then write what your talents and your gifts are. This is what you need to do to find out what your purpose is, okay? Find out what your purpose is, okay? Then once you find out what your talents and gifts are. Then meditate, okay? Then start doing a little bit of your talent and your gifts and what you feel your purpose is every day, regardless of money. Now, what does that mean? That means you may be an accountant, and but you feel like your purpose is to paint. Well, I'm not saying to stop being an accountant. I'm saying that go to work every day like you usually do, and then paint on the side. But don't try to sell your paintings. Just paint and see how it makes you feel. Continue to journal, continue to meditate as you are painting. Okay, I'm just using painting for an example. Okay, if you are writing poetry, if you are a poet, or whatever it is. And let me tell you something about purpose. Purpose is not grandiose. Okay, your purpose may not be the next Oprah Winfrey. Okay? Your purpose, seriously, may be to be a maid. There are some people that love to clean. I'm talking about just, they combine different types of chemicals and shit and can make your house smell so good and all that, and they love to clean. That could easily be that person's purpose. It does not, and here again, this is why it has to be a connection between you and spirit. Because if it is not, then somebody's going to come to you and say, what kind of shit is this you want to be a maid? And then they will downplay you being a maid and make you feel like shit about your purpose. But it's not about them, it's about you. Okay, so the other thing, so what did I say? I said journal, I said write down your different talents, and then I said meditate, okay? Then I said start to do little bits of things that you like, okay? Then, what am I saying to you? Stop asking for permission from other motherfuckers about what your purpose is. Are you listening to what I'm telling you? Because somebody else does not know what you feel in here, even if you try to explain it to them. And guess what? It's not their business. It's not their business. And I'm talking about your mother, your father, your lover, whatever. This is something that you need to be doing on your own, okay? So that you can stand in your own purpose. If you don't find out who you are, then other people can tell you who you are. And then you're going to just sway back and forth based on however the hell it is that they feel about you. Okay? So you have to stop asking permission. You have to stop trying to be in a group. Okay? Because I'll tell you right now, purpose will separate your ass. Okay? You can be in a choir hole and still purpose is going to separate you. Okay? You got to know that, because late in the midnight hour, it's you and that wall. All right? And that is what is muy importante about this life. You quieting yourself, situating yourself to know what your purpose is. So, in closing, I'd like for you guys to do that for 21 days. If you are wondering what your purpose is, do it for 21 days. If you already know what your purpose is, stand in it. Stand in it. And who you love. So if Whitney was my friend, I would have told her, look, why don't you meditate? You know what your purpose is. Your purpose is to sing. You have a beautiful voice. Why don't you go ahead and meditate for 21 days and then ask God if he's going to send you to hell for loving Robyn, and wait for his response or her response. That's what I would say. Because a lot of you people have allowed other people to put you in a hell that they don't have, and to keep you out of a heaven that they don't really know exists. And this is the problem. You've got to be so clear about your purpose and so passionate about your purpose that it don't matter one way or the other. It doesn't matter whether there's a heaven or a hell. It doesn't matter, because because what you do, your purpose makes you feel so good. And when your purpose makes you feel so good, you make choices that will allow you to fulfill your purpose. And when you make choices that allow you to fulfill your purpose, you know that you're on the right path, because you know you're doing the right thing for you, and nobody can sway. My live disconnected. When Mercury's in retrograde, your technology always starts messing up. So, but I did save it, and I just uploaded it, so it should be on there now. But nevertheless, thank you guys so much for being a part of my live and being a part of my purpose. Thank you for being a part of my purpose. Love who you want to love, but love yourself first. That's what's important. You need to love yourself first, because when you love yourself first, then no one can tell you what you need to be doing with your life. That's actually what happened to me. A lot of people said that I needed to be a pastor and that I needed to do all these other things, and they weren't wrong. I'm just a different kind of pastor. I'm the kind of pastor that tells the truth. And so, and I'm not saying that other pastors don't tell the truth, but I feel that my purpose is to say things in a way in which can really be heard and really get us to shift the paradigm. And I think that we are not having the relationship that we need to be having with God. Whether God, you call God source energy, whether you call God the universe, whether you call God whatever it is, God is here. And it is very, very important that you get a relationship with God so that no one can tell you that God doesn't love you. You know, that's like somebody telling me Danny doesn't love you. Well, I know that that's a bull-faced lie, because I have a personal relationship with Danny. You see what I'm saying? And so you've got to have that one-on-one relationship where you can ask God yourself, if I start singing R&B instead of gospel, will you put me in hell? You've got to ask those kinds of questions, because right now what you're doing is you're just allowing, if Daryl Coley was alive today, I'm sure that he would tell you, oh my goodness, I wish that I went on ahead and loved the person that I really wanted to love. Because like I said, he ended up dying poor. alone and very, very sick. I saw Daryl Coley shortly before he passed. Saw him in person. I've met him. I've taken pictures with him. And I never talked to him about being gay. I didn't say that, but he died miserable, and everybody knows it. So go ahead and live your life, but find out your purpose. I love you guys so much. Thank you again and again and again and again. Thank you again and again and again. I'll see you guys soon. Listen, Geminis, if you're Gemini, shut the hell up during Mercury retrograde, okay? How many more days we got?